Well, good morning, everybody. It's great to see you all and your smiling faces. And I hope you had a fantastic weekend, as well as the start of your week as well. Well, let's jump into today. As you can see, there is this mysterious picture that I am displaying at the moment of a Minecraft church. Now, what could that be about? Well, as you know, we have spent the last few weeks looking at game design principles, the industry, and other related issues and thoughts to help us begin to differentiate what is a good game and what are the pieces of that versus what is a bad game. How do we deal with all that? And so we've been dealing with all these abstract concepts. And so I began to think, how could we take these things and apply them in a practical fashion? And also by doing so, maybe even try to work on helping our local churches, or to be able to turn something as fun as game design and play to other functions, like serving our local church, like I said. And so today we are going to talk about your next project, which is to take the floor plan of your local church, or you can pick one, a fictional, and turn it into a board game that can help new members or guests at your church get a feel for where everything's at. Because I think that this might be one of the most overlooked aspects of loving our neighbor when it comes to, again, new people coming to our church, because we know where the bathrooms are. And we know, where our second grader is supposed to go to class and this sort of a thing. But for the newcomer, it can be very overwhelming, and it can adversely affect their time there, when they might have chosen to attend your church because they really liked it, but because it was so difficult, and it was a little overwhelming in their first few times, that they may not come back. And so how can we address that through possibly a creative use of board games? And so that maybe, if your church had this, then they could, host a night where you would get together with new members and play this game. And then even in the midst of fellowship and eating and that sort of thing, it would be helping members and caring for them. So what would this entail? Well, let's look here. So right here, you see all these different pieces of board games. And I think that that's first the really important thing to be thinking about, is how to approach this in a way that is fun. How do you think about, how do we think about the experience of the player, from the way that these pips feel to the quality of the material? Now, as we talked about before, this does not mean we need to spend $100 getting really nice stuff. We could use things like torn up index cards or rubber duckies or, dice, whatever it is, but it has to just be thoughtful. So be thinking about these things. What are your pieces? And then I'm going to come over here. The next thing to think about is the floor plan. Just figure out, maybe you need to talk to your pastor, you need to interview a few people. Maybe you don't even know all the different areas of your church. Just to get a sense of, what are we dealing with? What are you going to need to include? Excuse me. Got to clear my throat there. And so that you can actually, for your game, maybe there are some things you want to leave out, some things you want to emphasize. There might be landmarks. This is where, if you want to, that you're close to the bathrooms, if you're close to this strange green coat rack, those sort of things. Well, and then the next thing I'd like to talk to you about is time. So you can see here, I'll start that we need to be thinking about, for our project, we only have a couple weeks, so we can't do everything. So you might have an amazing board game design for this that might just take too long, and then you won't be able to do the sort of good job we all know that you each are capable of. And so try to somehow balance the quality of your game with the time constraints that we're under. The other side of it is thinking about the player experience. Is your, how is time being used there? Is it fun and brisk? Is it, is it too long? The turns, are they, just be thinking about that time element as well. And then finally, your project, as we've talked about, there are core mechanics to every game. The core action and their controls and the avatars and the camera and the action parameters. We've talked about these. How are you going to have two primary core mechanics, whether it be the dice rolling or, a Settlers of Catan use of cities to figure out how to get resources, whatever that is, and how you incorporate those into your game? You need to be thinking about these as well. Well, that's just a little bit of an overview. I'm really excited to see what you all come up with. You've been doing so well with your assignments of this. I know that you guys are going to knock this out of the park. But anyway, any questions, don't hesitate to email me or give me a call, even text me. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Take care.